Thousands of people drive across Interstate 496 every day. For many, it's a quick and convenient way to get across town. For others, it harbors loss. It's a reminder of a community lost 50 years ago.
There was one route that I was allowed to walk home from Lincoln School when I was in elementary school. I had to come down Williams to Birch, turn left to Olds Avenue, and turn right. Once, everybody else was going to go straight down Williams to Max, so I decided to go with them. My mother was waiting on the corner of Max and Williams with her arms crossed. To this day, I wonder how she knew. I think it was like 4th grade or something. That's how the neighborhood was. Everybody knew what we were supposed to do, and they would tell your mama.
And they could spank you when you got home, you got another spanking.
That's right.
Call it nostalgia, but there's nothing quite like your childhood neighborhood.
Schmidt's was right down from grandmother's house, and that's where we shopped. And then, of course, Stone's drugstore. Everything that we needed was right, and everybody that we knew. It was our world.
Siblings Diane Suleiman and Adolph Burton say their childhood neighborhood was a special one, bustling with neighbors who felt like family and businesses that felt like your best friend's house. It's now a long slab of cement.
You see where this sign is? Our house would have been right there, where that sign is.
The 11 miles of concrete that make up Interstate 496 pass through what was once Lansing's largest black neighborhood.
I brought my son over here and I tried to explain to him that our home was right there. And he said, "What are you talking about, Dad? As a whole, there's an expressway there." And him being 29, 28 at that time, I couldn't make him understand.
Right.
But he does now.
Right.
There are homes all up and down here.
Right.
So people just don't know.
The United States government built I-496 between 1966 and 1970. To connect the East and West, they would demolish 600 homes and 200 businesses.
Well, it was heartbreaking.
The community it destroyed was one of the few places in the city where black people could buy a home, in a city divided by racism and a practice of redlining. Those who live there describe it as a safe haven.
Everybody knew everybody, everybody loved everybody.
There's nothing like it. Christmas morning, getting up, running outside. What did you get? Oh, this is what I got. I got this new bike. I got a glove. I got this, you know, just all that. Now you run outside, you look across, there's a highway. I mean, go back in the house, you know. It's just different.
In the 1960s, expressways like this were being built across the country, often in places where residents lacked the power to fight back.
If you take a look at the proposed routes of expressways in this country, match them up with red-lined neighborhoods, they match pretty close to 100%.
In all the cases, there was not one white neighborhood or Hispanic neighborhood. All were black. So that's not a coincidence.
Lansing families were cut a check that supposedly matched their home's worth, and they were told to leave their homes within 60 days. A difficult feat, as until 1968, many other neighborhoods had it written in black and white that people of color were not welcome.
It was controlled by restrictive covenants, which basically said in your deed that African Americans, mostly marginalized citizens, could not live in those neighborhoods. Most of the deeds in the Lansing area have those in them.
I coined the phrase years ago that I believe that whole project took the unity out of our community. If you didn't like the price and didn't go along with it, they just took your house and put you out. And I saw people go through that.
Do you feel that people who were displaced were adequately reimbursed by the government? Do you think that it was done fairly?
Absolutely not. No, there's no way, shape, or form.
There were 3 potential routes for I-496 and a few variables that likely led the government to choosing the one that they did. First, according to displaced families that I interviewed, the African American community didn't put up much of a fight at this time. Second, General Motors wanted it here.
Looking back now, do you feel that it was race motivated? Do you feel that they would have done the same thing in a white neighborhood?
I don't think so.
I don't think that they would have done the same thing in a white neighborhood, but I don't think it's just because of race.
I think it was race and convenience. Right. It made sense at the time.
But the worst part to me was the unity that was lost.
With an interstate where their kitchen tables used to be, many black families moved to predominantly white neighborhoods.
The question earlier you asked, did desegregation happen faster? It happened almost overnight. Yeah, it really happened quickly because of the expressway.
Well, I was happy for the people because it was their chance to get out of that area. That area had been designated for poor people, mainly blacks.
Some people were happy, and there were a lot of hard feelings. I think it worked both ways.
The neighborhood is remembered today by these adults who were teenagers when they were displaced. This fall, president of the Historical Society of Greater Lansing, Bill Castaneer, is working to bring their memories back to life. Castaneer has put together a team of residents to create a documentary about the neighborhood and a window display museum at the Knapp Center in downtown Lansing.
What we hope to do is we hope to catch people as they walk by. You know, they'll wonder what a barrel is doing in a window of a former department store, and hopefully they'll walk these 10 windows and get a concise kind of idea of what an expressway did to a neighborhood.
It's been more than 50 years since the demolition of the St. Joe neighborhood. More than 5 decades since Margaret's mother had neighbors that would watch what route her little girl took home from school.
Yeah, it was a neighborhood.
Since a community shaped by racism and remembered for unity was lost to a highway.
I know one thing though, and I've this has been my pledge, is when they put that expressway through there, it changed a way of life, and you can't replace that with money.
The Historical Society's documentary on the neighborhood is set to air in fall of 2021. After our interview, Castaneer told me that he has seen calls around the nation lately for highways like I-496 to be removed, but he doesn't see that catching on in Lansing. I'm Sarah Grimmer reporting.